It's go time.
Uh,
Welcome everybody to another episode of, I guess, a series we're calling Science Dum Dums. If you're new to this, haven't seen this, essentially the idea is two humans who are, I guess, amateurs in the science world, talking about science stuff, things that intrigue us in the way that I guess we understand it to a certain degree. Sometimes so far we've gotten a lot of it right, but there's been some things that we've gotten wrong. But this is an effort for one me to talk about other stuff other than what I've been doing professionally for man almost 20 years. So there is that kind of a change for me in life, in my old age, but also um, to learn, I guess, to learn, get better, and hone this quote unquote craft of science stuff. Um, as you can see on the screens, my name is Edgar Antillon, and the other human. I'll let him talk about himself and motivations and why he does it and all that.
yeah, so I'm Richard Fletcher. Go by Engineer of Reality on Facebook or no, YouTube. Yeah, and so basically all I'm doing is trying to learn. That's all I got.
All right.
Uh,
Did you
so
put echo on
professionally,
your
I'm an
microphone?
engineer. I do testing and validation for a lot of internet stuff.
Got it.
Um, that's about all I do.
Yeah. I was. Did you put some reverb on your microphone? Did
I
you
gotta fix
agree?
that. Hold on.
Oh no, you're good. I just heard the reverb. I was like, "Whoa, this guy's getting he he's getting 1980s audio technician on us
I
with
know.
that reverb." Um, yeah. So last episode we talked about a little bit about a thing in the limbic system. We primarily focused on the basic. What was it like? I'm already
Oh,
um
so we were talking about pattern recognition
pattern
when
recognition. Yeah, pattern
yeah.
recognition. Part of the limbic system, part of, well, overall the brain, there's multiple layers to it, but a big part of the limbic system. And one of the things that I like to do in these episodes is kind of go over stuff that we might have gotten wrong in the previous episode. And one of the things that we really didn't get anything wrong. There's a lot of things that we probably oversimplified. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that in this context, to oversimplify things and not go super complex. Could we have given more detail and explain the mapping of the brain a little bit more? Absolutely. But I don't know about you, but I'm okay with not always getting super complex. Sometimes we don't know the complexities, and we say it the way we know, and sometimes we do know the complexities, but in this context, it's almost not even worth it to discuss the complexities in the context that we're trying to kind of convey, I guess, so to speak. But one thing that I got wrong, and I don't know why I always understood this, but I get it now, is I mentioned, so this is a correction, I mentioned that smell does not get processed through the limbic system. And that is not
Mm,
100% incorrect, but also mostly incorrect. I'm trying to throw myself a bone here and be nice to myself. It goes straight to the limbic system. It doesn't get processed through any other filters like auditory and vision does. Vision has to go through the visual cortex, and then it goes to the limbic system, and then it goes to the occipital lobe and all that stuff. The the smell doesn't get processed that way. It doesn't get synthesized that way. It goes straight to the limbic system. So that was the one thing that I said that was not super duper correct. So
And I think that's how memories are usually formed, or that's how you get snapped into certain memories. Is smell is actually the fastest way.
some smells, yeah, some smells do snap you into the um that nostalgia, I guess, if you will, that you remember some cooking stuff. Yeah, so that's one of the ones that I misunderstood, which is good to know. I always question that too. I always, when I thought about it and I talked about it, I was like, that's weird that the smell doesn't get processed, but it doesn't get processed. It goes straight to the limbic system, so it's very directly linked to the limbic system. So um, probably still an oversimplification of what it actually does, but I still wanted to get that shit out there and get it corrected. Um, Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I
No,
think we got into the ADHD pattern recognition.
correct.
I think we were kind of going back and forth about how the ADHD processes it, and I just wanted to point out it's not that that ADHD will process patterns faster. It's that uh, a neurotypical mind will process the pattern and put logic to it all at the same time, and you'll have a reaction to it almost immediately. Whereas ADHD will process it; it'll find the pattern really quickly, and takes a little bit to get the logic behind it. Usually, the mind will dismiss it before that logic shows up.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a anytime you're talking about these type of concepts and principles and ideas, whether it be physics, whether it be neuroscience, it's so complex that it's very difficult to talk about it in any format, especially when you're trying to convey this information to humans who are relatively new to this, and being spoken by humans who are kind of trying to learn the the complexities as well. So a lot of it we're left with oversimplifications, which are still correct, but it's still either you oversimplify it and don't explain it 100% the way it is, or
Mhm.
you you cover the topic as it is and it fucking goes over almost everybody's head, and then nobody really grasps the concept. And I think that's the balance of trying to oversimplifying by and still maintaining the integrity of the concept, and still trying to explain that it's still an oversimplification. It's much more complex than that. It's a weird balance, super weird balance.
Correct.
Yeah. Today you wanted to talk about this one came out of left field. Um, and I guess I want to pose the question before we talk about it, and kind of leading up to this is, um, are we awesome as human beings?
My answer, hell no.
No.
No, we there's too much so we're going to be talking about the Kardashev scale. And there's a lot to learn about that. Kardashev scale is basically a scale of where humans as a civilization land, you know, in terms of their technology advancements, or basically, yeah, their advancements as a civilization or a species.
But is it that, or is it more so? Um, yeah, here's a kind of an image: type one, type two, type three, type
Mm.
four, type. It goes up to six. Type six. I thought it
Yep.
just went up to three. That's the one you see the most. Is people talking about type three,
Hmm.
and so my understanding of the Kardashev scale is not necessarily technology, but more so energy consumption. Um, are we harnessing all of the power of the planet, of the resources that we have. And type 2 is more of a, so type 1 is planet. We're
Hmm.
using all of the resources of the planet. Type 2 would be we're using all of the resources of the solar system.
Yeah,
And
the neighboring
then
star.
yeah, the neighboring star, so the sun for us. And then type 3 would be galaxy, intergalactic. We're basically so spread out as a society, as a species, that we live all across the galaxy. And not just that, but we're using all of the energy. um it's not technology, if I'm not mistaken. We can do a quick little Google, but my understanding is that it's not necessarily technology or gadgets or anything like that. It's really more power consumption. Are we using all of the energy available to us?
I would say it's more so power access. What I mean,
What do you mean by that?
currently we're not even at a type one species. We're at a like type point seven or
That's what
type
they
point
say.
72
Yeah.
actually. And the reason is because we still fight over fossil fuels. That's the whole reason behind it. Um, we're not using, you know, a fraction of the power of the planet. We don't have we're not using any of the technology that would even allow us to use a fraction of the power of the planet. So
Yeah, but could we, like, this is my issue with this. I'll be honest, Kardashev scale is one of those scales that I heard about a long time ago, and for me it just wasn't that interesting, so I didn't dig deep into this. Um, but the little that I do know, it's even if we wanted to, we can't use all of the power, because this is what the Kardashev scale again, I may be wrong, and I'll find out next week, um, or after this episode, that I am wrong probably. But my understanding is power consumption, using 100% of the power available to us, but we can't because you drive a car and it's going to let off heat. And it seems like no matter what energy source we use, we're going to lose energy through, a lot of it is just heat, just leaving the the little gadgets that we're using, solar panels, water heaters. I mean, you name it, cars, electric
unless
vehicles.
unless we come up with a way that can harness the heat that's being lost to reconvert it back to energy. That's the only other way.
But then now I think now you're venturing into what they call that a perpetual motion machine.
Yeah, but it has no kinetics. That's the only thing.
So it becomes difficult because my understanding of perpetual motion machine is virtually impossible in the physics that we understand. Like you can't happen with what we understand.
Yeah, well, the reason is because of that the law of thermodynamics, and so you can't. Um, you're basically taking energy and you're trying to convert it into kinetics, which then you're going to use the same kinetics to try to convert it back to energy. Um, with this, I don't know. There may be a way to harness heat, just like how they used to use steam locomotives. They use the heat, or even hot air balloons. They use the heat in order to make a balloon float. So
Yeah, but
you're
there's still
changing.
heat dissipation somewhere. Like you're still losing heat in by default energy
Yeah.
at some point. So this is my biggest problem with this scale, um, is this idea that we can harness all of its powers. So this was proposed in 1964 by Soviet astronomer Nikolai Kardashev. It measures, yeah, so it measures how much energy a civilization can use, not intelligence, morality, or technology overall. It's basically a way to think about civilization in terms of power consumption. Is energy really the best way to measure advancement? So, and that's my sticking point. What a weird way to decipher, because I've heard a lot of um, professors talk about how we're not super awesome, and a lot of people in science talk about how humans are not super awesome because we're not even a type 1 civilization, and that does lead humans to believe, the average Joe, I guess, that we're not special, that we're not awesome, that we're not capable, and I'm sure that's true in many regards, but power consumption is one of those, is like that's a weird way to measure it.
Right. Right now, we're sitting at about 18 terawatts of global energy consumption. Um,
Every how often?
this is a yearly global energy consumption.
Yearly.
Yeah,
How many?
18 terawatts. And I have
18.
no idea what that translates to in zeros yet.
I'm gonna Google that shit really quick while you talk to people.
Okay. Um, so a type 1, it's going to require 10 well, 10 to the 16th power in watts. So it's a lot more.
How much more do we need to consume?
Uh, about 10 to the 16th power. Let me see what that would be here.
That's crazy. A terawatt is a massive unit of power equal to 1 trillion watts, used to measure huge energy demands of production like global electricity. So it's 1 trillion. I guess we kind of know that if you understand what tera means. Um, I still don't understand how much that would be. A fuck ton.
So,
It's a fuck ton.
yeah, it says about 500,000 times more energy than we use now. That's what I have
500
in my
times.
notes here. 500,000 times more energy than we use
See,
now.
that's insane. Basically, what anybody who, from my perspective, from a human who knows very little about this, basically, in order for us to be quote unquote a good civilization, is we'd have to deplete the entire Earth of all of its resources and basically run it dry, and then we'd be considered super awesome as a civilization. That's my biggest problem. Is like that sounds weird because
Well, I think if we were to move energy from fossil fuels to something like nuclear power, you'd be able to harness and use the type of energy that is required to be a type 1 civilization without depleting the earth of full resources.
yeah. My wife and I were talking about that. This like it sucks that we don't go back to nuclear energy because it's so misunderstood. It's just heavily misunderstood. But it's clean. It's now we can sit here and argue if something does go wrong, it can potentially be catastrophic, but it's not as bad as it seems. For many people, it would be well worth the super duper tiny risk. What is it? 3 Mile Island is that the one here in the U.S. where there was really no contamination. If we were to look that up, there's really
Mhm.
nothing horrendous. Now, in Japan, the shit that happened in Japan, that one was pretty bad. But everybody there can kind of signal like this shit was fucked up way before the tsunami, and the
Yeah.
tsunami kind of just highlighted how fucked up it was in Japan in that nuclear power plant to begin with. Like it was already screwed. Um, but I mean, our Navy ships run off of nuclear, and that I know of, there hasn't been any major incidents with it,
No, um, unless it's not reported.
unless it's not
That's
reported.
yeah. Let's keep this hush.
Which unfortunately can be a thing. I mean, it might be,
Yeah.
but I haven't heard of that happening.
So in order for something like this to happen, I mean, the fact that we still burn fossil fuels, we still fight over fossil fuels and resources and everything. In order to become a type 1 civilization, we pretty much have to unify as an entire planet, which I don't see that happening. But
But then it would be just it would just be yeah, but then we'd still have to essentially consume according to the scale, unless I'm misrepresenting it completely.
mhm,
Because the very little bit that I gather from this is how much energy a civilization can use, not even what type of energy, just energy overall. Now, nuclear, to your point, does consume a fuck ton of like it converts a lot of energy for a very small amount of because you're splitting atoms. That's essentially what you're doing is
yeah,
nuclear fusion. It's basically what the sun does. We're
yep,
basically harnessing a little sun,
little tiny.
uh, little super duper tiny one to propel turbines.
Hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, that's still the way it works, right? You're propelling turbines.
Yeah, which then you have that parasitic loss from the turbine propulsion.
Correct, correct.
So
So no matter what, there is energy loss.
yeah,
But again, this doesn't say 100% energy consumption. It does just say how much energy a civilization can use. Um,
so in order for that to even happen, you have to have a fully renewable grid. So we'd have to have an energy source that is fully renewable,
yeah,
something that's not under consumption. So to your point, um, for burning fossil fuels, you'll have heat that's given off. You'll have carbon monoxide and carbon
yeah.
dioxide and nitrogen oxide as well. Um,
And then
so
the
yeah,
other
we. Hmm?
the other one to make us type one is this one's weird because they already accuse humans of doing this, which is weather modification or climate control, large scale ocean energy use, full electrification of transportation.
Hmm.
Um, so it's I don't know, it's weird. It doesn't require weird technology. To your point, it just
So
can we
yeah,
coordinate this a little bit better?
no, we we would need global energy storage. So as a civilization, we would have to have one reserve bank of energy for everyone to use.
We can't even
All
get Texas on board with this shit.
No, Texas is definitely not on board. They
Like,
will secede quickly.
I mean, their power grid is garbage, and they're
Yep.
still like, nah, we're good.
So, yeah, to your point, we need controlled climate engineering. You're going to have a unified planetary governance. That's the thing, a whole unified governance.
That's garbage.
And no one out of energy. So there cannot be any part of humans that don't have electricity or don't have any energy.
Yeah, see that's never going to happen because there's a lot of humans who just don't want it. Like I just like being off grid
Hmm.
is a relatively awesome thing for a lot of humans. I know for me, we did it for a little bit, even if it wasn't super intentional, and it's probably some of the happiest times of my fucking life is being off grid. Now we did have our own power supply, but we were not tied into a grid. So we had our own solar and generators and all that stuff. So we created our own energy, but we definitely didn't want to be attached to the quote unquote grid. So I think that's another dilemma with this whole idea of becoming a type 1. I'm sure in 1960 whatever um this was especially in we got to consider Soviet astronomer, like for them it was I don't know. It's just that pipe dream of I don't know. I don't know what the motivation was.
Yeah.
Well, so in order for us
My
to be
computer's
go,
running out of resources here.
uh-oh. You consumed all of your
No, I'm
energy.
saying my computer is running out of resources over here.
No,
Yeah,
I
I'm
know
consuming
you
everything.
consumed all of your all, you're running out of energy. You consumed it all. You're a type 3 home
Type point
um
three.
type point 3. Yeah. Type 2 Is your computer gonna keep up?
No, I think it's good now. Just
We're
had a
good.
hiccup.
All right. Type two.
Yeah.
Type two is Dyson spheres and star power. So basically, we're using up all the resources of our star. We're
Hmm.
harnessing all of the resources of our star. A type 2 civilization uses the full energy output of a star, in our case, the sun. Dyson spheres are likely swarms of satellite, not solid shells. So basically, I'm going to put it up here for those of you guys that don't know what a Dyson sphere is. A Dyson sphere, to me, already right off the bat, is super unrealistic, and it'd be garbage. It'd be
What
garbage.
I've always thought about this. What type of material can we make that can be that close to the sun and not degrade quickly?
Well, and aside from that, is think about how that would affect us here on Earth if we're not getting any more of the
Right. Yeah, there's
uh,
no light, no sun.
no sun, plants. I mean, photosynthesis is kind of gone because
Mhm.
basically a Dyson sphere is you're covering up the sun or the star. You're covering up the
Mhm.
star and then harnessing the energy through there. So, in order for you to accomplish that, I don't know if humans can see this on the screen, but you're covering up most of the sun. So a lot of the those lights, those rays that we depend on, that vitamin D, um, the UVs and UVBs and UVAs and all of that stuff that our body needs. Animals need this shit. Plants need that shit. Would essentially be gone. So there's a lot of things about this scale that for me is just unrealistic.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
It'll fall under the Fermi paradox. Have you heard of that?
no, uh-uh.
Made by Enrico Fermi. Basically, it's a discrepancy between the lack of conclusive evidence of advanced extraterrestrial life and the apparently high likelihood of his existence. That's the paradox, where he's asking the question basically, if they exist, where is everybody?
Where are they at?
Yeah.
If they exist, where they at?
Hmm.
Well, and that's my whole thing is like if they were so smart and all that stuff, why? Because we claim there's a lot of scientists that claim that if there are other civilizations, they're probably significantly smarter than us. But even us that are mediocre or less than mediocre, according to a lot of scientists, we still want to make we would want to make contact with other civilizations. Like we're desperate to know what's going on. And I don't
Hmm.
know. Again, this is just from my stupid human brain. Um, I don't know of any alien life that wouldn't want to make contact, even just out of curiosity, like even just out of this is weird. I think that the biggest problem is that maybe if there is alien life, it just doesn't look like us, and maybe it's not even anywhere near humanoid. Um, because bacteria is technically alien life form according to scientists. Like I think people don't understand that. If we were to find worms on Mars, those would be considered alien life forms.
Yeah. The biggest thing is we've been, using the James Webb Telescope. I don't know if you've heard of pictures that are taken. There was a an infrared kind of spectrum
Mhm.
that was being emitted or whatever that it picked up from light years away, and that would be an example, if it can be proven. That would be an example of, say, a Dyson sphere in another civilization. It could be covering a star. So even the sun, if we covered it with the Dyson sphere, then it would pretty much give off a glow, like an infrared glow, um, that can be picked up from another civilization. I just think that if there was a type 2 civilization out there, that we'd probably be able to detect it by now.
Like pretty quick. Like our technology is pretty quick, and even if we can't see it, our we have enough understanding of what is picked up by these telescopes and what materials would produce that type of ray, what type of wave, or what that type of color. I always wondered that as a little kid, um, until I found out. It's just like, well, it's very easy. Like you have oxygen, it's going to produce a certain wave, and you're going to have radio waves produce a certain wave and certain hertz and certain like, and this is how they know most likely what's creating certain shades and certain swirls or any of that stuff. It's we kind of have a very basic idea of what exists out in the universe. We've explored our solar system enough to know most of what exists out there and what kind of
Right.
waves it irradiates and the color spectrum and all of that. So yeah, to your point, I agree that if there was a type 2 civilization, we probably would already detected some really weird shit. Um, most likely.
Yep. Um, so I mean, we've pretty much touched on all the big bad parts of trying to become a type one civilization. We've already talked about the biological catastrophe of uh if we covered up the sun, we have no photosynthesis. We have plants dying and things like that. So
Yeah.
everybody turning really light.
It's almost counterproductive to try and harness all of its energy while also blocking because a lot of the energy we get from the sun is just the rays. Is just simple.
Neutrinos and heat.
I guess all of it is just rays. So in order for us to convert it into quote unquote usable energy, like I think we're already doing that. It's just
Right.
not all of it. All of the shit that hits us is
Hmm.
we're consuming it. I think the problem is we talked about this when I think our very first episode, if I'm not mistaken, we talked about entropy. Yeah, I think that was the very first one. And the
Hmm.
problem with entropy is because entropy is just spreading. Um, all of the energy that we get from the sun, 100% of it leaves the planet in one way or another, some form or another, and that's the entropy part of it, right? It's the spreading out of the energy.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest issue we have. I'm okay with not being a type 2 though. I think the cons would grossly outweigh us just saying we're type 2 just for the sake of saying we're type 2. Even type 1, I'm okay with saying aside from the political bullshit, I'm
Yeah.
100% okay with saying we're not type 1. Now type 3.
Oh boy. Um,
So type 3, while you gather your thoughts, um, it would basically be all of us living throughout the galaxy, the entire Milky Way, not just in the solar system, throughout the entire solar system, kind of by default. That's not necessarily one of the requirements, but it's using the energy of billions of stars, not just one star. It's basically all of the stars in the galaxy.
mhm.
Um, Again, we span throughout the entire galaxy. Um, I guess the biggest problem with that is if we can't even get our shit together on one planet, shit, even in one country, can you imagine us trying to organize intergalactically communication? Shit, just for me to send a message. Um, our what is
True.
our one satellite that we sent out a while back? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. Ah, we sent two of them. They have the same name.
Oh,
Um. Anyways, it's long gone. It's technically not even in our solar system anymore. It's the furthest one we've sent out. I can't even remember the name. It's such a something that I it's so basic. I can't. Anyways, it takes 20 hours for us to send a signal to it, and then
oh yeah.
and then 20 hours for it to send a signal back. Where's it at? What's the
Yeah,
name?
latency is terrible the further the
The
satellites
fuck is
are.
that satellite? Uh, I can't believe I can't remember this shit. Um, so stupid. Voyager, fucking Voyager. Voyager
Voyager.
1 is currently about 25 billion kilometers away, 15 billion miles away, 171 astronomical units away. For those of you guys that don't know what an astronomical unit is, basically the distance between us and the sun. That's what they consider an astronomical unit. And it's 171 astronomical units, which again is about 15 billion miles away. That takes 20 hours for us to send a signal and for it to return. Now imagine if you were on the opposite side of the Milky Way.
Oh,
Uh, crazy, crazy. Just to give you just to give humans an idea of this, from the time that humans have been humans, I think they say 300,000 years, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can go look that shit up. We should probably look that shit up. About 300,000 years. Um, we have not, in that time, we have not gone around the Milky Way.
no.
And in our lifetime, we probably will not see that. Well, no, not probably. We definitely will not see that happening where we, again, in orbit, we have not done a complete orbit over our center black hole. Crazy, crazy time. So I think type 3 is kind of out of the question.
Yeah, yeah. I
Shit,
mean,
type 2 is out of the question.
type 1 right now is out of the question. We're not getting there. Not in the current political climate. We're just not going to get there.
I still don't think we need politics to to be all that awesome to participate in, because we
Well, we need the absence of politics in order to do it because it's all
but
about unification of humans. So
but is it really unified, or is it just power consumption? Because I don't think we need to be unified to use the power. I think if we're all just in agreement that we just need to use all of the power just to say we're a fucking type 1 civilization, I think politics is, we already did it. Perfect example is the fucking the space station. The space station
mm,
is like crossed all barriers. Like we don't like politically when we're not talking about you and I, we're talking about politically speaking. The Chinese, the Russians, and the U.S. have never really liked each other, politically speaking.
mm,
And we're not talking about individual humans. We're talking about politically speaking, and yet we set that shit aside for the most part and said, "Let's build a international space station and let's
mhm,
work together up there." And we did that even shit even now, where the Russians and the Chinese don't like the U.S. all that much, and we're still doing it. So I think it can be
right.
done. It just,
Yeah.
I think
But
politically it can be done.
the issue right now is yeah, they can put a space station together for science research and things like that, but they have to be able to unify on resources, on actual energy resources, which right now that's what all the wars are about. So we'd have to end war first.
Yeah, that'd be tough. That'd be super tough.
Yeah.
Um, so type 3, um, yeah, I just don't see that shit happening. Ever, ever. I don't give a fuck how awesome we get. It's so
Right.
unrealistic. It's so unrealistic.
So if we wanted to move up though, if we were able to stabilize actual fusion technology, that would probably move us up. That would let us be able to harness the power of the sun without nuclear fallout or nuclear decay. So that's one way.
So this is my sticking point with nuclear is there isn't always fallout. So a lot of people believe with bombs anyways. I'm not sure how nuclear power plants would operate,
Mhm.
but it is my understanding that nuclear bombs do not actually have nuclear fallout. Um,
It's increased decay. So that's what you're getting is um, everything around it or everything that's touching that nuclear um, energy decays faster, which is exactly what I would think would happen if we were to try to build a Dyson sphere around the sun. It would just decay really quickly.
so yeah, fusion, nuclear fusion, unlike fission, is relatively clean. So fusion, nuclear fusion, which is power plants use, right?
Hmm.
Nuclear
Yeah, nuclear
fusion,
fusion. This
unlike
would be
fission, is relatively clean. It
yeah.
releases energy, but no harmful radioactive products or large amounts of nuclear fallout. So I think that's the we would use fusion, not fission. Um, okay, so there's really no. It's pretty clean. Anyways, you were saying.
Mhm. Yeah. Another way is space based solar, which I think the Chinese are working on that right now. I think I wrote something about that. They are trying to work on a system, a solar system or of satellites that have panels that are on outer orbit of the Earth that are harnessing energy from the sun and beaming it down to Earth wirelessly. So that's what the technology is working on now.
Beaming what wirelessly? The
The
energy?
power that yeah.
Yeah, but see, again, this is back to Nikola Tesla, right? Like everybody said, Nikola Tesla was a genius because he wanted to do wireless energy, and
Hmm.
and the amount of power that's going through my walls right now, if that shit was wireless, would fucking kill me.
Yeah, it would.
Like it would fucking kill me. So again, there's this idea of like let's send hundreds of fucking or like watts um and make it wireless. It's not realistic 'cause it'll fucking kill me.
Yeah. So their current technology is just working on harnessing power from the sun, but catching neutrinos before they enter our atmosphere, which dissipates the energy that the neutrino carries. So currently, solar panels are, they carry a certain amount of efficiency. I can't remember the exact number, only because neutrinos that are coming from the sun that are being absorbed by a photovoltaic system is not as strong as what it would be outside of the atmosphere.
So according to AI, believe it as much as you want to believe it. This is if you Google solar power efficiency, 18 to 24% of sunlight into electricity, with premium models exceeding 24%. So 450 watts. Um, I'm just kind of skimming through it. So not very efficient.
Not
Um,
very efficient.
not very fucking efficient. So very, very low efficiency on the solar panels.
So the
So
idea
you're saying
is
this one
to
would
put
increase it.
them. That's what they think. They figured that if there's a way that they can harness the power outside of our atmosphere, they'll be able to harness more energy within those solar panels, and then somehow they're going to be able to beam it down to Earth wirelessly without losing more
But
power.
because
I don't understand how that's going to
yeah,
work.
because our biggest problem is we have this it seems like everything that that we love is also a thing that we can hate. So it seems like everything that is super positive for us will also fucking kill us eventually. So the biggest problem we have with all of this stuff is we have this amazing thing called an atmosphere, which other planets don't have it the way we have it. It's such a almost perfectly balanced atmosphere that protects just enough sun that it doesn't kill us, but it allows just enough in that it's beneficial. So again, to your point, is if you do it in low Earth orbit, so you do it in LEO, um, you have whatever harnessing the power and then beaming it down. It still has to go through the atmosphere, which is what kills part of the sun's rays as it comes in, and
Hmm.
that is beneficial. That is a positive thing. That's not a negative thing.
Right. Um, the other thing, there's two other things that they're going to have to fight. I mean, the same thing that satellites fight right now is simple raindrops. Raindrops will scatter a satellite signal because, the same way it scatters radar. Um, Not sure what technology they would use in order to beam down electricity. I'm going to try to assume that it's the same as a regular satellite, and raindrops will still affect those, along with the Earth's electromagnetic field as well. I don't think that they'll be able to
Yeah,
counter that.
I need to look this shit up a little bit more, because that all seems fucking batshit crazy. Raindrops?
Raindrops will definitely scatter a satellite signal, but it's the same way as, say, you have a police officer that's shooting radar at a car, or even laser at a car. Those raindrops, small raindrops, will deflect.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had misunderstood. So there's a theory as I'm looking this shit up. Um, there's this idea, and I'm trying to get more information. You were talking about. I had to plug it in, but you were talking about that that paradox,
Oh,
um,
Fermi paradox.
the paradox. There is um, something that works within the Fermi paradox is, and I'm trying to get more information, but advanced civilizations become less visible, not more visible. So that's their
Mm,
claim in all of this stuff, is that it becomes less visible. So I'm not
hmm.
understanding how the fuck it would become less visible, because you said that it, we would see it more. This is a really interesting idea, and it comes up a lot when people talk about Fermi paradox, the question of why we don't see obvious signs of advanced civilizations. The short version: very advanced civilizations might be less visible because they become more efficient, quieter, and less wasteful with energy. I get it, but but the thing that still loses me is if you have something around the the sun.
Hmm. Unless they're type 3, where they have something around all the stars. And
So,
then,
but here's my problem though. Here's
mhm,
my problem. Again, I don't know shit. This would, and again, we're probably going to find out the answers in the next episode. But here's my problem. There's still gravity, and there's still the effects of, we would at some point, I don't give a fuck. We would at some point, because of the genius of Einstein, we would see refraction,
mhm.
because we see it now, right? So you would see a star, because um,
Oh,
oh, did I come back?
yep, you're back.
Uh, that's weird. We have all of the stars kind of mapped out, and at some point, with all of these stars, galaxies, we would see it where it shouldn't be. So if there's emptiness, right? If it's quiet and it has Dyson stars around it, so it looks so quiet and almost invisible, we would still be able to see something, even if it looked more like a black hole, I guess, but it wouldn't, because it wouldn't have um, the ring around it.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's still so many problems with this shit. Like, we would still know about it one way or another. We would still
Um,
be curious as to why the fuck nothing is making light bend.
well, unless, I mean, it's a good segue to a type 4 civilization.
What was the Type 4? Because I don't even have the Type 4. What was the Type 4 civilization?
So it's capable of using energy at the scale of the universe, which means it can create galaxies and manipulate space time.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
That's like batshit crazy land.
yeah, yeah.
Like
It gets worse from there.
we don't even know how the quantum stuff works. So, um, I'm going to continue reading this. Efficiency reduces waste and heat, which I get it.
Hmm.
Um, because I do get how we're so wasteful with energy and it radiates a lot. By consuming all of it, it would all stay here and none of it would radiate out.
Yeah.
I I
Perpetual
guess
machine.
what's that?
Perpetual motion machine.
But I don't think that is physics possible. I don't think that's possible. Scientifically possible. Again, this is based off of my very little understanding of all of this shit. They may not use radio much. We've only been broadcasting strong radio signals for about 100 years, and already fiber optics carry most communications. Directed transmissions are more efficient than broadcasting. I get that. So a lot less radio waves. Big structures might be rare and short-lived. Dyson spheres, megastructures, but building gigantic structures may be inefficient. Distributed energy collectors might be harder to detect. That's another thing that is true. We only think about Dyson spheres, but there might be other ways that they collect the energy and not just Dyson spheres. Um,
Right.
so that's something. Digital or low energy lifestyles live mostly on digital environments. Again, less radio waves require far less physical infrastructures optimized for minimal energy use. Excuse me. Um, so more advanced
Interesting.
does not necessarily mean bigger or louder. Yeah. So I guess there's that. I guess there is that. Um, anyways,
Hmm.
super interesting. So you asked me a few days ago, maybe even last week. Um, you had asked me, what was your question? You said, "Do you think we can talk for an hour on the Kardashev scale?" Uh, I think so. I think this requires a lot more than just 1 hour.
Yeah, and we haven't even gotten to the last two civilizations.
I've got time.
Ah.
Go.
All right. So a type 5 civilization is capable of using energy at the scale of the multiverse. So it can travel to parallel universes and simulate universes.
So type 5, and now you're entering into the quote unquote multiverse.
Yeah. Like Google's Willow, you know, AI.
Yeah, but is AI, is it
Not
really?
not not current AI, no. If AI was to advance uh, more than a language learning model, it could possibly be something that can access a multiverse, if that even exists.
Yeah, and that's the big if, right? Like if it actually exists. This is my biggest dilemma with all of these conversations, especially on the philosophical side, not the scientific side. So on obviously when talking about philosophical side, we're not talking about provable stuff. It's just ideas.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned before, I don't know where I lie with religion. I don't know where I lie with, is there a higher being? Is there not a higher being? If I were to believe, then all of the sudden this idea of multiverse kind of goes out the window to a certain degree, which it's awesome because you believe that there was a creator that created you and you only. But it's shitty because it also means that I can't believe in anything other than, well, God only created me, whatever deity only created me on this planet, on this solar system.
Hmm.
Like it just it kind of stifles progress, but it also, because of the progress, it also kills the illusion that we're some awesome being. Like it's this weird paradox of, are we awesome created by a creator, And if that's true, then the multiverse doesn't really like it's such a weird place to be at. I don't
Yeah.
know if that fucking made sense, but
Yeah. I mean, the idea of a multiverse would be basically a repeat of the current universe, but separated by something. Um, my belief would be separated by frequency, but yeah, that's because I'm an RF engineer. So
yeah. Yeah, you had mentioned that, and I don't know. That one's super weird. It just with our very little understanding and from a logical perspective, which I know is a horrible place to be looking at science from, it is from a logical perspective. The multiverses just don't make sense. And I think that's the problem is they just don't fucking make sense. And there's nothing again, string theory tried to prove this, and string theory now gets looked at as like this laughable theory that went nowhere and nobody gave a shit about. Um and I think that's the problem is we fall into this thing of I want to find another universe. We haven't even understood ours. And we always fall to like let's find something else.
mhm.
And I think that's a problem. So I don't know. So basically, type 4 is just a continuation. Now you're looking at not intergalactic, but the whole universe. Now we're in coordination with the Andromeda galaxy. Now we're in coordination with every other galaxy that's out there. I guess intergalactic, like actually like the whole, not within our galaxy, but other galaxies as
Beyond
well,
that. Yep.
which is
And the ability to create new galaxies. So
but is that part of it? Because that's not power consumption. That would just like how would we create them, and how would that fall into this scale? Because the scale is just power consumption. It's not.
well, no, it starts as power consumption, but it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
no.
under
Go ahead.
yeah, under the type 4 civilization, you would have the ability to create new galaxies or to be able to form stars or a collection of stars and planets and things like that, and be able to move or manipulate space time. So you
That's
can pretty
five.
much fold
That's five.
gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's 4. So
Oh, I thought
5
that was five because yeah, we're gonna
5 is
talk
where
about
the multiverse comes in.
so type 4 in what I'm reading is it may not even look like a civilization. At that scale, there may not be people in the way we imagine it. It could be mostly automated systems. It might resemble self-sustaining cosmic process rather than a society. So it's not. It could potentially be not even a society. Type 5, from what I'm seeing, um, access energy beyond our universe. So again, going back to the multiverse, manipulate space time in extreme scales. This is 5. This is what I have. Potentially create or interact with other universes if such things are possible.
Yeah,
Um,
the ability to travel to parallel universes.
yeah. So again, this is batshit crazy land. Obviously, we don't even have proof that it even exists, let alone that this is possible.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that's crazy.
And the type 6 is just
It's just
yeah.
basically it's just a continuation, right? It just type 6 would
Mhm.
be
Says a
uh,
civilization that exists beyond time and space or in higher dimensions, and it
yeah,
can create and destroy multiverses.
that's I'm gonna not accept that as that's
All
just
right.
now we're just saying dumb shit at that point. Now we're just type 7 is
Yeah, this one, I mean, it's
it,
basically
it's
a
it
comment, right?
yeah, type 7 at this point it's fucking we're in Fortnite and we're also communicating with Call of Duty and Super Mario's and
All at
I
the
get
same time with
now we're
no
just
internet.
yeah, we're just saying crazy shit at that point.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, this is an interesting scale. Like it's an interesting topic. It's an interesting thing to kind of think about. It is just a thought experiment. It's not anything we can prove. It's not anything that is necessarily real. There's no. It just again, it's just an idea. It's just how awesome would it be if we can actually harness all of the power and have very little waste.
Mm,
Um, Obviously, a pipe dream because
yep.
with our current physics, we can't do it. Shit, I cannot consume all of the energy. Currently, I am radiating heat,
Yeah.
um, and if you were to put an infrared on me, you would be able to see how much heat is coming off of me, and it's pretty substantial. So this idea of like physics does not agree with consuming all of it, the power
I took
uh,
a selfie once with a flare camera,
with the
and
flare. Yeah,
yeah, you should see how my head was just glowing.
glowing.
Yeah.
So and I think that's the problem, right? Is it's awesome to think about. It's awesome to have a conversation about. It's just, but I mean, if you just look at what this universe has already created, again, whatever you believe in, a deity, no deity, is it's so unrealistic to say we consume all of the power because we can't. That would also violate the third law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If I'm not mistaken, that's true for all energy.
Mm.
Um, so it's very unrealistic.
Yeah. So what planet are we pulling from or something if we're consuming everything here with the equal and opposite reaction?
The sun,
The sun?
well, it wouldn't be a planet, right? It would be the
Well,
star.
just to be a type one.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, correct. It is again, we would die really quick because if we're consuming all of the energy,
Hmm.
then we're not distributing it all out, and it's all. I mean, all of our energy would be gone really fucking quick.
So
Because
would
to
there
a certain
be
degree, I guess if you think about it, we do reuse our energy because the heat that's coming off of me, even if at a tiny tiny scale, is helping warm up the house. It's right when you get inside the blankets, you don't need the heater as much because you're inside of the blankets, and that right there is keeping you warm. I guess if you really consider it, we do use a lot more power than we give ourselves credit for.
Mhm.
Um, you were gonna say, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you, do you think we would use firearms in a type one civilization?
I think if politically we were at a place where there is no war, then it'd be very, very unlikely that we would have a need for them if we're getting along that much.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that we wouldn't have any tools for self defense because humans would still be humans and we'd still be wired the same, and there would be no kumbaya. Like there's no utopia. And I think that's the problem with this is this idea of a utopia just doesn't exist. Like it's just not a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, I only carry because I hike with aggressive moose. So yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the other thing. It's not just humans. It's we still need to eat. Um, there's still wildlife. There's still there's that side of it too. It's not just a human thing. It's
Yeah. So I
just
mean, culturally though, a lot of things would have to change in terms of culture, and this is beyond politics. I mean, you have to have a lot of long term thinking with humans. We have to be able to think into the far future, not just now or not just next week.
yeah, but I think
Um,
that's our problem.
yeah,
Sorry, you were saying.
we have to reduce tribalism.
Yeah.
That'll be a huge huge advancement if we were able to do that. Education reform. I'm kind of working on that, but yeah, education reform would be a huge benefit for our civilization. And this is beyond energy consumption. This is just cultural things that have to change in order for us to be able to advance to a type one civilization.
Yeah, and I don't think I want that. See, and
No.
that's my other side where like I don't think I want that. Like I think um sure whatever you want to call education reform because that means different things to different people. That's the other side of it. But
Hmm.
I'm okay with understanding what tribalism is and understanding that it's in us. Like I get it. I'm not a big fan of this idea of tribalism, but it also means you get rid of actual tribes, right? Like you get rid of the pygmies and you get rid of these lost civilizations that are in the jungles that don't want to be participate in our shit, right? There's still a lot of people living in very secluded areas. There's plenty of YouTube videos on it. I'm sure it's all hyperbole, but there's a lot of these civilizations where like I don't want interaction with the outside world.
Right.
I don't want your diseases. I don't want your technology. I like the way we live, and they're kind of stuck in their way, good or bad.
Hmm.
Us living in these fucking pretty lights and this technology and all that shit for us are like that's fucking crazy that you would never want this, but for them is like this is all I know, and I would never want that because this is all garbage. Like I like to be able to not pay taxes, right? That's one thing they don't have to pay for their housing and they don't have to like it's they're living off the land the way the land according to them is supposed to be made, like they don't have to worry about rent.
Right.
Like I don't know if I would want to give that shit out. Like you mean you're going to take all this shit away and now I have to pay rent and I have to pay government money and I have to buy this type of clothes and I have to pay for internet and I have to pay for a vehicle and I have to pay, like now I'm good. Like
Hmm.
I'd be that same way if I lived in that civilization where I was just like I don't have to pay rent. I don't have to worry about uh, people forcing me to pay taxes. Whether
Hmm.
you agree with it or not, that's besides the point, right? Like it's is this people taking my tax money to use it for things that I may or may not agree with. um it's this weird paradox of we kind of want to advance, but at what point do we advance where we kill a culture? I, Gentrification is a perfect example, right? I was just driving through, there was a fuck ton of traffic, so I got off on Colfax and I was driving through the old neighborhood where I grew up, and that shit looks insane. Like it is crazy how different it is even just from like a year ago. It is crazy how gentrified. Because I grew up, I'm Mexican. I grew up in a Mexican neighborhood, and that shit's all gone. You could call it progress, you could call it advancement, and I may agree with you to a large extent. Like it's cleaner. It doesn't look like it's as gang rated, and gangs in Colorado don't really exist all that much anymore. I think worldwide, it's just not a huge thing like it was in the 90s, but there's a
Hmm.
lot less of that. It's cleaner, less graffiti, less all that shit. But also, none of my people are there, right? So, like, they
Yeah.
call it advancement, they call it progress, but at the cost of my culture, at the cost of my people, at the cost of memories, at the cost of all the people that used to live there that got um they got what is that priced out. So
Hmm.
it's I think that's the problem is I guess I get it. Culturally it would have to change, but I don't know that I would want that. There's a lot of cultures that would disappear if that happened.
True. Yeah. That was one of the questions I would have. What about religion? Would that evolve to something else, or would it disappear?
It'd probably
Assuming
disappear.
that we, yeah.
It'd probably disappear. Like theology would disappear.
Hmm.
There's a lot of shit that would be sacrificed in the name of becoming a type 1 civilization. And I don't
I
know.
don't
I
think you would have nation states. I don't think you would have money.
it
You wouldn't be able to.
Well, it'd be a different type of money. It'd be a different type of currency because somebody has to pay for all of this stuff. So I think it's that you see this a lot in movies, and maybe that's what we're fed with is
Hmm.
you see a lot of advanced civilizations or like shots to the future, but there's like ultra control and it's very oppressed way of living, and they have access to your everything and very little freedom. It's all quasi perfect. It's all quasi utopian, but everybody's mostly miserable because they're under the thumb. So
Yeah.
that's the and everybody's the same. Everybody's the same.
Basically, we wouldn't be intelligent enough to survive our own intelligence.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. So super interesting. Interesting where this shit took us.
I just think that humans are too emotional to be able to to really hold this down. Anyway,
And again, do we really want to?
yeah,
I think
not me.
that's the philosophical conversation side of this scale is do we really want this? Is this something that is truly beneficial to us as a species? I don't know that I want our species to continue on Earth. Like call it pessimistic, call it like very negative, but I just don't think it sucks that we don't have the dinosaurs, and there's a lot of animals are like, I wish I would have seen that, and this shit would have been cool. But if the dinosaurs existed, we wouldn't have the animals that we know of today that I
Right.
get to enjoy and that I get to see pictures of and see out in the wild. Like they wouldn't the moose that you're talking about may not exist because those other animals exist. So it's just like you're always trading one for the other,
Hmm.
and you can't have it both. That's the problem. You can't have it all.
Yep.
So fuck this scale. I don't like this scale, but it's super interesting to talk about. It's such an interesting thing to have a conversation about.
Yeah.
What else you want to add before we wrap this up?
Um. Just the idea of this scale. This actually came from my little genius of a son. I don't know. He's the one who brought it up to me, and I'm like, "What the hell is that?"
Oh,
So
okay. You had never heard of
yeah,
it.
yeah. I didn't hear of it, and
Oh
so
no,
I
yeah,
said, "Well,
yeah,
let's talk
yeah.
about it."
Okay. Yeah, this is one of these very people don't talk about it as much, but I've come across this scale a lot in my rabbit holes that I go on with physics. So this comes up a lot. This um, I had always understood it as a measurement of intelligence and not a measure of power consumption. So I was one of those that has heard this of how smart are we?
Hmm.
Um, and then when you proposed this to me, I started studying a little bit more, and this is when I found out that it's more of a how much power can we consume, and it kind of lost its appeal. Kind of lost its appeal. It was fascinated.
But if you think about it, once you get into the higher civilizations, it goes back to intelligence or capability. It starts
But
being a little bit less about energy consumption.
I still don't think so because I think the whole thing is a power consumption. What the Kardashev scale actually measures, if you look at it, proposed in 1964, it measures how much energy a civilization can use, not intelligence, morality, or technology overall.
Hmm.
So I don't think it is a measure of intelligence, and maybe as a byproduct, we would have to be smart enough to harness all of that energy.
I think so.
Uh, so I guess as a
Uh,
byproduct, but not the actual measurement itself.
but it's crazy because it said not a measurement of morality either.
Morality either. Yeah.
You you have to have morals in order to be able to unite as a species
Do
or be
you?
able to.
Not really, because if I don't think so. Because if you this is where it gets tough without speaking about politics too much, because I definitely don't want to turn this podcast into a political conversation.
No.
But we've seen in history many dictators that forced unity and people did some really evil shit. You look at Hitler, right? He kind of forced an entire um, culture to hate one particular type of human being. and they did it rather successfully, unfortunately, for the Jews. So that is a lot of unity, all in the name
Mhm.
of hatred. And now to them it wasn't hatred. To them it was they were doing the moral thing, and to them they were doing that. So I think you can lack morality and be unified if it's unification through force.
Okay.
Fear of going to jail, fear of being murdered, fear of losing your business, your livelihood. I think
Okay.
we have examples of that a lot, unfortunately.
I
So
guess everyone would have to unite against the one common cause. I guess that's about it.
that's about it. How it happens
Yeah.
doesn't have to be moral. Doesn't have to be moral.
Yeah.
The Aztecs, my people, or what people, the Mexicas, what people call the Aztecs, they did a lot of barbaric shit. Like a lot of barbaric shit, a lot of human sacrifices,
Mhm.
a lot of killing of children, and this was all in in the name of unification and calling out to the gods and what they thought was moral. We would not accept that shit today in 2026. If I started killing kids, we're like, well, this is an offering to the sun.
Yeah. There goes Edgar again.
So, anyways, I think that's a good place to call it good for today. Not only did we talk about it for an hour, it's an hour and 16 minutes.
Wow.
Um, Probably a lot longer than you thought we were going to talk about it.
Yeah, I thought we were going to be done in like 5.
No, 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 no. I mean, we could have, but so. Anyways, look out for next week's episode. Hopefully we can do it. I'll get a hold of you. We may or may not be able to do it. I'm speaking um
Oh.
at a it's an event where PhDs and PhD candidates are gathering, and I'm going to participate on a panel to have conversations. They basically want to pick our brains about certain subjects and topics, primarily reducing negative outcomes with firearms. That's the other thing that I do, and yeah, so I'll be on this panel. It starts at 3. It should end in time. I'll coordinate with you to see how we would do that, but it is next Tuesday when I do that. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure
Okay.
it out.
Cool.
At any rate, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. The few of us, I seen that you didn't connect this to your YouTube channel. Um,
I thought I did.
no, it doesn't show
Daggone
your
it.
channels. It doesn't show any paired channels. Either way, we'll put it up on your place. Um, I'll find it. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming out. Hopefully next time you guys add some comments. Hopefully next time you guys say things and stuff. That's where I want to get is more into the comment stuff. I'm sure the 4 people watching are my family, and none of them are commenting, so that doesn't make me feel very good.
At
'Cause
least
they
at
should
least
be
you
fucking
get
commenting.
your family to watch. My kids don't watch at all. They're too
Well,
busy in Minecraft and
they
Roblox.
that's probably why they're not commenting, because they just put it on to make me feel good, which I appreciate. I guess it's good for the ego, but I'm sure that's why they don't comment.
Mhm.
Because even if they commented, it would be pretty awesome. Um, but whatever. The fact that we have some people watching is good enough. But anyways, comments are always good, even when this is not live. Again, we've had a few people comment on my side, not a ton, but that's how we get better. That's how we challenge each other, and that's how we um, kind of continue the stuff. But